not going to be increased by executive fiat.
I call the Honourable Minister Peter Dunn.
Mr Chairman, there are two streams of argument that I want to respond to. The first one relates to the $40 fee. And I need to correct Mr Burns immediately. We are not talking about a cumulative fee of $100. A one-off $60 charge for the establishment of a loan, an annual charge thereafter of $40 for the ongoing administration of the loan. It is the borrower will pay $60 in year one, that's 60, and 40 in subsequent years. You cannot get a cumulative cost of $100 in 1 year, which is what the member claimed, and there is no way you can twist the argument to present that. Let me come to the point that he raised about, because of the wording of clause 181A, does this mean that there is some hidden agenda to increase that charge? And the short answer to that is no. We've simply set that figure in there as being a reasonable administration cost, bearing in relationship to the establishment cost of $60, and if we were intending a higher figure, we frankly would have said so. Let me now come to the question that Mr Shearer raised, because I think it's important to put on record exactly what is happening with the computer system, because this is going to be somewhat of an ongoing theme, not just in this bill but in other pieces of tax legislation over the next little while. The first scheme was instituted in 1991. It was seen as groundbreaking at that time. It served us remarkably well in the last 20 years, but in that 20 years we've grafted onto it, in no particular order, student loans, KiwiSaver, child support, working for families, and one or two other initiatives as well. The consequence has been that a system that was set up for a very discrete purpose is now taking on a whole range of other activities, and that to get access to someone's data in respect of any one of those activities requires a sort of a translation through all of them. So it is complicated. During the term of the previous government, we began a project to refine the nature of our technology, if you like. We rejected then, correctly in my view, the idea of a complete systems rebuild. The Canadians and the Australians are doing that. The experiences the member lamented in respect of national computer programs are being repeated in both those countries. They both have billion-dollar plus price tags now for the work that they're doing. So we decided we would start with the student loan project because A, it was discrete, and B, there was an off-the-shelf product available from Oracle that could be purchased and effectively implemented, whilst the broader process of what the future for FIRST might hold was conducted. And the thinking was at that point that we would do the student loan project, we'd then move on to other discrete projects within the system, and over a period of time would migrate away from FIRST to the new system. Because of the complexity of FIRST that I described right at the beginning, what has happened in the subsequent period is that it's become clear that that initial objective was not as simply able to be achieved as we might have first imagined. I can assure the committee that no money has been wasted. In fact, the transformation with regard to student loans will occur from 2013 onwards. The problem is simply this. When this bill came to the House with an implementation date of 1 April 2012, it was on the assumption that we would be able to move to FIRST by that time. I was faced with a decision earlier this year in around March or April from memory as to whether we push the implementation of this entire bill back to 2013, which would be contrary to the assurances we'd given, or whether we see whether we can proceed to a certain extent within FIRST and then a certain set of other changes in the bill take effect at a later date under the newer system. And that's the option that we've actually followed in the bill. So that we will be utilising FIRST for a number of the changes. As we migrate over the next 2 to 3 years, then the new system will take effect. But we were wanting to honour the commitment contained in the bill and the discussion documents that preceded it about the need to give some clarity for the administration of student loans in the interim. This is not a project to be concerned about in the sense of whether it's all going to happen. It is. The time frame is simply taking a little longer than we might first have imagined, and that is a good thing in a way, because a lot of the issues that are being identified through that will serve us well when we come to look at things like the PAYE system, GST, and various other aspects of the system as well. So, Mr Chairman, I can assure the committee that within the scope of FIRST we will be able to deliver what is in this bill by 2012. The bulk of it will come as the system changes from 2013 and beyond.
The question is that Part 5... I call the Honourable Trevor Miller.